Hi Buttercup, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is frequently asked questions about my books. In no particular order, I have just written down some questions and notes for that. So if you see this, it's because I have a not so great memory, so I have to write stuff down. We're just going straight for a notebook and writing it down with my horrible handwriting, and we're just gonna jump into the first frequently asked question, which is, are any of your books young adult? I get this a lot nowadays. None of them, absolutely none of them, are aimed for teens or written for teens, even though my 3 standalone novels have main characters either 17 or 18. A Patriot's Tale, Lily is 17. In Danu's Curse, Ness is 18, and in The Two Foxes, Sarah is 18. And I want to go into a little bit of context because I think nowadays we automatically think teen as teenagers, even 18 and 19, though not so much 19. It still says teen in it though. But for all of those time periods, they were adults. It was either children or adults. There was no such thing as preteen, and there was no such thing as teenager. It was, you're a child and you're going to be treated as a child, or you're an adult. And there comes the time where, depending on the area and the time period, adult could mean 13. It's usually when you hit puberty. Ness and Sarah and Lily, they're past that time period of being told that they're children or being labeled as children, and they are now adults because we're skipping over the preteen and the teen section. Didn't happen, especially not in Ness's time in Iron Age of Ireland in 503 BCE. Not a thing. So she is labeled as an adult. They're all labeled as adults, and there is nothing in any of these books that would indicate coming of age or teen issues or teen topics. Not at all. They're very adult topics that I write about. Also the fact that in in Danu's Curse there's a lot of sex, and in all 3 of them there's a lot of violence. It is not aimed at teenagers. I'm gonna say that again. There's not aimed at teenagers. Please don't pick this up for your teen. Now, if your teenager happens to pick it up, okay, it's not gonna, I don't think, it's not gonna traumatize them, but it's not written for that young adult teen market. Of course, teenagers pick up adult books. I did that all the time when I was actually a kid, all the way when I was legally an adult at 18. It happens, but if they're looking for how to figure out teen issues, it's not it. They are figuring out very adult issues in all 3 books. Though I do want to note that you do see them being handled differently by the other characters in all of the novels because they're women. So they are going to be treated differently, more, and handled more carefully, or they're expected to be meek and submissive and all that stuff in a historical context versus if it was a male character. However, for Sarah in The Two Foxes, Puritans at this time married older, and when I say married older, 18 to 21, and she's 18, and she is going to be married off to someone who is a bit of a problem, and she's a bit of a problem. So minimum would have been 18. Usually it's like 20, 21. That's just a Puritan cultural thing. For Lily, she would have already been married or engaged at 17. And Ness, actually, her marrying at 18 is pushing it. Because we're talking about 503 BCE, they would marry at 14, 15. But it's also a little different with Ness because she is a mortal with immortal abilities, and her uncle and her whole village protects her very closely, and ultimately he tries to use her magical abilities, but that doesn't go over so well. And I do also want to note that doesn't mean that they matured any more than nowadays. I think you had to definitely know more things to survive. It would be more of a survival situation regarding this time period, and you're growing up really fast because you're expected to grow up really fast, because there's no such thing as preteen or teenagers and you figuring out your life. That's not a thing. It is survival, and it's about making connections and keeping those connections and that type of stuff. And for women, it was really about arranged marriages. It's not about love 9 times out of 10. And I'm being pretty nice with 9 times out of 10, but there are occasions where there was a love match during any of these 3 times. Second question, but I get this second question fairly often, especially with Danu's Curse with Ness. Your characters often go back and forth with being really smart and naive dumb or too trusting. Is that intentional? Yes, absolutely, because that's how humans are. Have you interacted with humans lately? I hope so. And more so with younger people that have not had enough experience. Their brains have not matured. They're considered adults and they do adult things. They still have not fully matured. That's at 26 years old. So their brains are, it's working. It's fairly, but not fully, and won't be for some time, fully developed. And this is a situation of what's common sense, what's life experience, what's street smart, what is book smart, like all those things kind of wrapped into one. And for example, Ness in Danu's Curse, she was locked away by her uncle. So she is smart because she can control the elements. That's her immortal ability. She can control magic. But that doesn't mean that she's the smartest person in Ireland. I think that would be unrealistic, especially because that goes into like a Mary Sue type of deal where she has magic. She's so young, but she's so smart about every single thing out there. And how, though, can she be so smart and know about everything out there when she has basically been locked away in her village by her uncle under a very watchful eye of her uncle and just everyone in the village? How would she know what's going on? That's kind of the thought process. So you could say that she is naive, but it's not completely of her making, especially for Ness. For Lily and Sarah, 17-18, Sarah has also been sheltered as a Puritan woman. Lily's a little bit more better at that, but for unfortunate circumstances because she was orphaned, and then she also a few years later lost her brother, so she has no one. So she really had to grow up fast, and she had to figure out, what do I want to do? And in this situation, she wants to take revenge against the British Army, and she does so throughout the novel. And she uses smart ways to do that because she's a woman. She's not going to be in the militia because they don't want women. It's all men. But she finds ways. They all find ways to be successful in their goals. And does that mean that they mess up? Absolutely. I mess up all the time. You mess up all the time. Some things you don't know, and you might be a little too trusting of this one person or that person over there. That's human experience. You learn from messing up. And as you go on in life, you realize some things, and you then go about your daily life differently. And that's just a human thing. It is a human situation. I wouldn't even say it's a human fault. It's just, how do you learn? By doing stuff. And sometimes you mess up. So there is a lot of messing up and or bad choices, or they seem dumb, or they seem like they're too trusting. Yeah, because they're humans. And I want to write books where all the characters, but especially the main characters, feel like they're human, and that means that they're going to annoy you sometimes. I get annoyed with people. People get annoyed with me. I mean, that's how it is. And I really didn't want to marry Sue. I don't want to write Mary Sue at all. And that means giving them flaws, and they don't make the best decisions all the time, but they learn from it, and that's the important part. They learn from their mistakes. Number 3, what magic system did you base your urban fantasy book series on? And it's going to be really simple. Get ready. Oh, I'm turning the page. I love this question, okay, because it is fairly simple, but it might not completely make sense for people that have not interacted with Wiccans or neo-pagans whatsoever, or maybe they have, but they didn't go deep into the belief system. But it's basically what they believe. Let me explain it to you. I'm going to lay it out. There is an other world that homes all other beings, of what you would think of mythical beings or mythical creatures. And they travel back and forth, if they want to, from the other world to the human world. Some people have psychic abilities like Tessa, who can see other beings, or maybe they can only see ghosts, or maybe they can only see fairies, but there are psychics, or a lot of them don't like the word psychic, so I say magical abilities in this book, but I also kind of poke fun at psychics. I used to be neo-pagan, so I know a lot of that belief system. I believed it when I was younger. So it's really simple, but also if you've never heard of it before, you're like, I don't get it. It's just basically, think about, there's an other world, another dimension, and all the fairies and the elves and the mermaids and werewolves, whatever, live over in that dimension. But sometimes they want to travel to the human world, or they don't even like the other world, so they live here. So there's a portal that they cross back and forth, and there are lots of portals everywhere. It's not just one, it's like thousands. And they have the ability to glamour themselves, so you as a regular human can't see them, because it would be a problem if humans realize that the other beings are real. They want to stay hidden, so they glamour themselves, but they can't really stay hidden for the people that are psychic or have magical abilities. And so it is what it is. They interact with them, and for Tessa, who can see all other beings, including ghosts, that's just normal for her. She just goes about her day seeing fairies, stealing chips from the 7-Eleven, and there's a mermaid in the pond. I don't know why you're in the pond, but you know what? You do you. It's just that type of story and world building that is already present in neo-paganism and covens, Wiccan covens. It's not that deep as well, and I just based it off of what I was taught as a kid. Number 4, do you self-insert yourself in your books? Not really, though my main characters have some connection to me. It's either they have a mental illness or mental illnesses that I have, like anxiety or PTSD, or they are sarcastic with dry humor. Number 5, are your antagonists based on people you know that were mean to you in real life? And that's No, because I think that's weird. Number 6, are you ever going to do another chapbook? I would say probably not, unless there's a huge event in my life that's really depressing or traumatic. So I'm not going to say never, but I'm hoping not, because that would suck. Then again, that is real life. I don't know. Right now, no. I don't have it in me. But if something is very depressing or traumatic that happens, possibility. Number 7, this is a long one, sorry. Do you read reviews, and do you suggest reading reviews as an author? First question. Yes, I do, but once or twice a month. 90% of the time, it's just on Amazon, and then I usually just look at the number of reviews, like it says 12. And then I notice, oh, it goes up to 13, 14, whatever. I don't like read the reviews. I started out on Wattpad, which is an online serial publishing company / website. And I got used to mean and nasty comments like go jump off a cliff and die. Or in this essay, I will tell you how you're fucking wrong by shipping Lily and Clayton in A Patriot's Tale, and you're trash. Yes, both of them have happened. The first one multiple times. So I'm used to very aggressive comments, which on Wattpad, the readers want you to interact with them. That's way different than publishing books. I don't interact with people unless they're on my ARC team or they're super fans and I know them. So if you see me interacting with a review, it's because they're either a super fan, they are an ARC reader. They usually go back and forth, ARC readers and super fans. But other than that, don't interact with them. But on Wattpad, they wanted you to interact with them or else they would get even more angry. So I'm used to interesting behavior and so have developed really thick skin. Now for the second question, if you do not have thick skin or any type of I would say mindfulness and detachment of this is one person's opinion, that does not mean that your book sucks or is bad, then do not read your reviews and don't reply at all. Okay? You have to remember that it's not in your control, so I am not going to let reviews affect me in any way. I can't get them removed. I'm not going to talk to them. That's their opinion. You also have to realize that art is subjective, and if someone hates your book, there's a bunch of people that love your book. You're not ever, never in a million, trillion, whatever years, you're never going to have everyone like your book. It is impossible. So as an artist, you're going to have to accept criticism or people saying that your book is trash. That's it. If you can't accept that, then do not release your book. Sorry, but that is what's going to happen. You need to focus on the positives. Look at all those 35 reviews that love your book. Oh my God, that's so fantastic. 35 people. And that's not even the people that have read it and haven't reviewed, but those are the people that have read it and they love it and they loved it so damn much that they have reviewed. Okay, and then there's 3 people that gave you 1 star and they think it's trash. Whatever. 35 against 3. You need to pick and choose your battles and do not choose the battle of a negative review. It is not worth it. It is not worth your time, your energy, or your care. Just leave it. Just leave it alone. And if you can't handle reading those reviews, do not read them. Do not. Because if it's going to ruin your day, your week, your month, whatever, don't do it. Don't do it. And I would like to add, I do look on occasion at the rating, the star ratings, because if I get a swarm of 1 or 2 ratings, then there's something going on. And I learned that a few years ago from my situation with Textual Love, which is a romantic chapbook, because sometimes Amazon likes to change up the categories. And this happened with Textual Love. They put it in religious and inspirational poetry. Not good. Not good. It doesn't go there. It does not go there. But it went there. And I got 1-star rating and a 2-star rating. I'm like, what hell? What happened? And I scrolled down and just ever so slightly looked at the categories, and they put it in religious and inspirational poetry. That is not where that book goes. Therefore, those 2 people that read it, they were looking for religion. They got some romantic and a little bit of sexy poetry. Yeah. What can you do about that, though? You change your categories, and you do better at tracking the category. Check in on them, like, twice a month or whatever. Just check. Because that can happen, and that's not my fault. And I can't do anything about taking those away because Amazon decided to put them in a category that it didn't belong. Let it go. Let it go. I can't control it, therefore we're moving on. Those were not the ideal readers for that chapbook. I have plenty of people that really love that chapbook. It is what it is, right? But the moral of the story of that is, of course, as I said, check your categories. And if you see something wrong, contact Amazon. Number 8, do you need to read standalones in any order? And also, do you need to read the chapbooks in order? No, they can be read in any sort of order. Doesn't need to be read in an order. Of course, the Midnight Detective Agency, you do need to read in order because that's a book series. Number 9, do your books or covers have any AI in them? No, they don't. Number 10, do you recommend authors being on social media platforms? Oh my god, this is a longer one, but I get this often because I'm not on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. What else is there? I don't know. I am on 3 platforms: Goodreads, Facebook, and YouTube. Hi, I'm here. I personally don't think you need to be on a lot of social media platforms. I'm going to say 3. Because you can spread yourself too thin and then you burn out and then you're gone for like 6 months to a year and they're like, what happened? Versus you have 3 and that's a little easier. And you don't even need to be on 3. Maybe you're just on 2. It just depends on you. What can you let go in the fact of, do I need to be on 6? Which 3 can I drop? Which maybe 4 can I drop? You don't have to be on all the things to be successful as a writer. Ones that I'm on, they're very fun for me. And the other ones, trash. Not interested. I think what's more important is setting up a newsletter connected to your website. Because, for example, you get kicked off of Facebook and YouTube for whatever reason. Or maybe you're on Twitter and Instagram and you get kicked off of those platforms. Where do you go? You go to your newsletter, because your newsletter has your super fans and your ARC readers. And that's where they conjugate. They are part of your newsletter. They get your newsletter however many times you send out your newsletter. You have built a community that enjoys you and your books. And I think that's the number 1. And then the other social media platforms. But do some testing, see how that goes for you. It just depends. Really, it depends on the person. So I can't say what social media is good for you, though I do know that Twitter is really about connecting with other authors. I do that on YouTube and Facebook and Goodreads, so there's no point for me to be on Twitter. Also because it's a dumpster fire. And I'm not interested in wasting my time. I was on it for about 3 years. Yeah, that was not great. So I deleted it, cold turkey it. Also, I watched The Social Dilemma on Netflix. I did not like what Twitter algorithms were doing. Same thing for Facebook. However, I just have a profile that's dead. I don't do anything on that, but I run my author page. So my newsfeed, not really existing at all. It's just there, kind of sometimes. So I'm not getting a dopamine hit every time, like a friend or multiple friends say something nice about me or say something mean about me, or they want to fight about politics. No, I don't have any of that. So I just go on Facebook on occasion to do author page stuff, and then I let go, and it's very easy. Follow people that are positive. Anywhere. Follow people that are positive, not people that are picking fights every single day, multiple times a day. That's not good for you. That's not good for them. So really, you need to curate your social media so it doesn't feel like you're addicted or obsessed with it, and you're trying to get that dopamine hit every single time something happens or just anything happens, which that is a huge problem, especially on Twitter, but also Instagram and TikTok. Yeah, those are the tough ones. They're the very tough ones. It's a little better on the 3 that I chose: Facebook, YouTube, and Goodreads. And that's one of the reasons why I chose those. And the other ones, those are fun for me, and I don't need the other ones. They can just go over there in the corner, hang out by themselves. But like I said, that's a personal choice. Do some testing, but be careful, because we don't want you obsessed with Twitter and be on there for 10 hours out of the day and not write. Writing is the most important part, not Twitter, not Facebook. Writing, getting your books out there, doing what you love, which is writing, not doom scrolling, not getting into fights. We're going to focus on the writing and the art of it. Thank you so much for watching my frequently asked questions about my books. That was a lot. I don't apologize though, because they're asked all the time. This is a part 1. I don't know how many parts there are, but we're probably going to do this a couple times a year. And thank you for asking those frequently asked questions so I could do a video, because if you've asked the question, other people are probably wondering it. So I love questions. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ta for now.